Functions are like variables, but they store functionality and not just values. This is playing with JS3. All I've done is forked playing with JS2 and started it here. Go down to the description for a link to this code pen and you can follow along. Great, so we have a function here inside of our event listener for click. So when we click here, something happens. We can change our background color, even if it's ugly. So here we can do what's called extracting the function. We will take all of the functionality from inside of it, like so. And down below, we can declare a function by saying function, naming our function, so change background color, parentheses, and curly braces. So what this does is create a function that we're going to store and name it change background color. I'll put all of the functionality back in that we had created before, and here inside of our click event listener, we will say change background color, and we call our function. It's called calling our function when we use a function that we've already declared in another place. So change background color. And now if this worked, we should be able to still click, change our background color as many times as it takes. But the purpose of this in this case is that we've extracted all of the functionality that we kept up here, and it makes our code much, much cleaner. Also, I can reuse this change background color function inside of other event listeners. So let's say I wanted to do the same thing whenever a user types or whenever a user specifically clicks on the h1 tag that we have as well. We can add the same functionality because we've stored inside of a function called change background color. We can call that whenever we'd like. So let's say I wanted to call the change background color function right away, change background color, right when they came to the website first. Okay, red. And then I want them to be able to click this and change it to whatever they want again. Well, then I can. I don't have to repeat all of this code that I've kept inside of my function. That gets much handier when you have really big functions that you get to reuse. Okay, again, we need some work on our user interface. Now that we have our function extracted, we can actually build a small UI menu that will allow our users to change the background color based off of a color picker. So we will add what's called an input, type equals color. An input tag is something that you've seen on a lot of websites. Let's put type equals text. This is the default type. Okay. And you see this when you put in your email on a website or a credit card number. Anytime you're using a form where you're filling it out, you will see this happening. So we have done an input, but type color allows us to click it, and we can change the color that's stored inside of this input. We will add an ID of color-picker to our input because I know we're going to need to get the value of the color inside of this input at some point. So we're just thinking ahead there, putting that ID so that we can call it in our JavaScript. In our JavaScript, let's make a function that says get color picker value var color equals document dot get element by ID color picker dot value. Okay, now if that worked, we will be able to see that in our console as value, as color. So console.log color. Now we have to call this function because we've only created it and named it. So let's say get color picker value. We'll call it. Go down to our console, and there we have it. There's the value there. Perfect. So we know it's working. Let's get rid of our console log there and say, let's see. Okay, document.body.style.background color equals color. Whoa. Okay, so now if we change this, let's see if it does anything. Nothing. It's because we only call it once right at the beginning. Nothing's happening when we change our input to have a different color in it. So we can actually add another event listener in the same sort of way by saying document.getElementById. We'll say color picker dot add event listener change function, and inside of here we will say get color picker value. Okay, let's see if this works. We'll change this to a different color, and whoa! So now our user can change based on this here, change the background color, and it's so quick. This feels like a very responsive way to change the color of our background just by using this input. To develop our user interactivity just a little bit more, we're going to have our Playing with JS 4 in the next video. There we'll create a serious panel for user interactivity, a couple more functionalities for our user to be able to interact with, and we'll have a real website on our hands. Don't judge it because it's not beautiful, all right? Blah!